Forget what you learned in school. Never mind what your parents told you. Disregard what your friends say. From now on, the only people you need to listen to are these guys. For the next several minutes, they'll take you on a journey through the political jungle. And when your journey is over and you're safe at home, they promise you'll be stronger, smarter, and just plain better. So buckle up, hang on to your ears, because your journey starts now.
Oh, boy. You don't even have a...
You're listening to the Odd Show with Nate and Brian. Shiver me timbers.
All right, well, welcome. I'm Nate, that's
Welcome
Brian.
to the Odd
This is
Show.
Ridiculous.
We're at odds.
It's a heck of a start.
Hey, it's Thursday, July 11th, 2019. We're coming to you via the Freedom Studios on the 15th floor of the Patriot Towers in Liberty City. Where at, Nathan?
Lithuania?
Lithuania. My favorite Lithuanian country is Lithuania.
Me too. We've been here a couple times.
I remember.
Okay, that's good.
We had some of their local dishes. Do you remember what they were?
Lasagna.
Lithuania lasagna.
Yep, that was good.
They had Lithuanian pancakes that
Yep.
were really good. They had Lithuanian bread.
We had.
But
Okay.
really what I liked was Lithuanian noodles. That was good. I want to thank our listeners.
Thanks, listeners.
I'm Brian, by the way. That's Nate.
We already did that.
Did we do that? I didn't say my name.
It didn't matter.
Okay. We got a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff. None of it's very interesting, but we got a lot of stuff. You want to do this first?
Some of what?
The Betsy Ross flag.
Oh, I thought we were just leaving it there just and unmentioned, just kind of as a statement, but not. I guess nobody on the podcast would know, would they? You'd have to watch the video. You'd have to watch the video to see. On
and
YouTube, youtube.com/.
We're going to talk about knives. Why don't you show them that knife?
Which knife? They can't see it. Look.
You got to pick it up and hold it in your hand.
Can you guys see that, those of you listening?
No, they can't see it on listening, but they can watch it on our YouTube channel.
It's nice. No, you're not holding it. No, I'm scared. It's a good knife. What do you want?
I wanted to cut your throat with it.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah. That knife will be at the Second Amendment March and the silent auction. It's about a $35 value, and you can bid on it. Maybe you'll get it for $1.
$50. Oh,
but
it's for a good cause.
Right. This is the big one. This is made in the Middle East. Look at that. That's a sword with a W, because that's how they say it in the Middle East. Sword. And look at that monster.
Yeah.
Beautiful steel, well made. Middle East have been making knives and swords for millennia, thousands of years.
You've decided to donate that one, huh?
I'm going to donate
that.
And
but okay.
It comes in this beautiful heavy leather sheath, well made, with 2 additional little sheath knives.
Again, you'll have to check out the video on
watch it on YouTube.
youtube.com/@oddshow.
You should be watching us on YouTube anyway.
Yeah, what are you doing here right now?
Go there right now, watch our...
Well, no, don't go there right now. Wait until we're done, and then once this is posted in a week or so, then go back.
Or never. Anyways, Second Amendment March, September 10th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the state capitol in Michigan. It's going to be a big event. We're still putting it together, trying to get some speakers involved. But we'll have silent auction. We'll probably raffle off a AR-15 again. There'll be food vendors and other merchandise vendors. It's a lot of fun. It's really a celebration of the Second Amendment. That's really what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It's just a lot of fun. A lot of people bring their kids as a lesson in civics.
Yeah, the premier Second Amendment event in
Michigan.
I
agree with that. Yeah. Absolutely. And put on by the 3 best gun groups in the state by far. Michigan Open Carry, Michigan Gun Owners, and the Second Amendment March.
Yep.
All right. Ross Perot dies. 89-year-old Ross Perot once described the movement of U.S. jobs to Mexico. It's kind of Mexico. To Mexico as a giant sucking sound. He succumbed to leukemia. I have a good friend that worked for Ross Perot in Lansing when he had a company here doing computer stuff for General Motors. And he was a stickler. very straight. You couldn't smoke. You couldn't mingle in any kind of relationships with other employees. You had to live a chaste, pure life in order to work for him. She actually went into his office and met him in Texas. And he had a lot of Norman Rockwell original paintings in his office.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Did he know Norman?
I don't know. He might have. I don't know.
89.
Yep. He was a little guy. He was only like 5'6".
Not real good at running presidential campaigns.
People said that he was the reason that Clinton won a second term. He took votes away from George Bush Sr. in that campaign.
Yeah.
He got like 19% of the votes that probably would have gone to Bush.
That's what happens.
Yep. Those damn independents.
Well, I mean, it's cool, but like...
Damn it, we're a two-party country. We're going to have to stay a two-party country.
No,
Nobody wants variety.
Listen, we will stay a two-party country.
Dilemma of choice. You're given too many choices and nobody can make up their minds.
That's not.
That's
not
actually
true.
a thing. Yes.
I know it's a thing, but you're way over applying it in every case that I've heard you apply it. But
I'm applying it properly.
No, you're not. But right now, we are a two-party country, and we will remain a two-party country, even if all these Justin Amashis think they're going to spin off and become independents. They're not going to win. They are, in fact, going to pull votes away from
other parties.
Yeah.
The two established parties.
Including Justin Amash running as a Republican and keeping his principles and winning and being able to actually do something.
Wow. Huh.
But I guess he's not too keen on winning. Or he's got a huge head and thinks he can win no matter what, which is not true.
He's got a day job.
That's right, and that was the first point I made. Is this is a pretty easy way to retire from politics,
right.
Without quitting.
Get a good gig,
and you can blame it on the establishment Republicans and Democrats,
and work for a big corporation or a university or something.
Yeah. So, why do you think Ron Paul ran as a Republican? Why do you think Bernie Sanders is running for president as a Democrat? Because they know.
Wait a minute. A socialist Democrat.
No, he's running as part of the Democrat Party.
Right, but he's calling himself a socialist.
He's
Democrat.
a loser, is what he is. But they understand that the affiliation with the party is what it takes to win.
Right.
Very few. He won in Vermont as an independent.
We'll talk
Bernie
about
Sanders
it later.
did,
how the Democratic Party is eating their own and screwing up, their chances.
Damn it, Ross Perot, you got me all fired up right at the beginning.
So let's get more fired up. Do you want to do the U.S. soccer team?
I love soccer.
Really?
No, not at all. Not even a little bit.
Okay.
Not even a little bit. What about them?
No, you put it there. I don't know.
What? They won. Oh, hey. Wait. Hang on.
Where's our applause?
Hold on.
Are those fireworks in the background?
Gunshots?
Yeah, that's what it is, gunshots.
Not really sure.
Yeah, the women's soccer team is really shooting themselves in the foot.
No, a couple of them are. Look.
Well, now they're saying the whole team doesn't want to go to the White House.
What they're...
I just read that.
Who said that?
That guy that's on the team.
Right.
With the blonde hair.
What she said was... It's not blonde.
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
It's white, blonde, whatever.
Okay. What she said was, everybody that I've spoken to directly about it has said they don't want to go either. And here's the real sad part is the U.S. women's... Soccer has not been a thing in the U.S. for very long. We're relatively new to it, and we're winning, which is huge, right? Because we're the best at everything. Right. I mean, it's great. They won. That's a huge accomplishment. It's completely being overshadowed by the morons on the team that want to make it political and think that they have some say. They're going to make some movement on the whole Trump thing.
Words matter.
And the media that, they won, but hey, you hate Trump, right? Let's talk about that. And that's sad. And with all that, the whole equal pay thing, because nobody understands economics. And if you want to get equal pay, then maybe you should get equal attention to your sport.
And not shoot yourself in the foot by alienating half the country.
Right, because half the country's never going to watch women's soccer now.
Right.
Not that I don't think Trump supporters watch soccer anyway because it's not an American sport.
I don't know.
But,
some might.
Yeah, very few of them. And even less of them watch women's soccer.
And actually, I think it wasn't the captain of the team that actually picked up the flag that they threw down on the ground.
I have a completely different take on that, too. I don't think she threw it down on the ground.
Well, no, she dropped it.
I don't think it was disrespectful.
Well,
I think it was a
kinda
mistake,
was. No,
and she shouldn't have done it. It was poor etiquette.
Yeah, well.
But I don't know. There's very
intentional.
few people that have won a championship of that caliber, right? Very few.
Right.
And you get caught up, I'd imagine, in the
moment.
celebration, in the moment, in the emotion.
Yeah.
The other people on your team who helped you win said, hey, let's do this weird thing where we do whatever.
Shake our hands.
Whatever they did, and she just did it. It wasn't this is the flag, I'm going to stomp on, I'm going to throw it in the dirt.
I'll give
she
you
was
that.
carrying the flag to begin with.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
So, yeah, maybe I think it was poor etiquette. It was a mistake. She shouldn't have done it. Don't think it was malicious.
Like the French would say, it was a faux pas.
Yeah, and I think we need to just move on and get over it.
All right,
I
let's
mean,
do
come
that.
on. No, I mean, as a country.
No, I mean right now.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
Are we done? We didn't have enough material. I wanted to talk about
4th
soccer
of July, Trump
we
gives
didn't-
a speech, mentions the 1775 airports and how the United States dominated the airports during the Revolutionary War. Now, he said, actually, right in the middle of that sentence, it went out, his teleprompter.
Yeah.
And that's not a good feeling. You're
can
standing in front of millions of people on television, and I don't know what the final count was, but that crowd, he has to always talk about the crowd, went all the way back to the Washington Monument. It's hard to look at anyways because it was raining all over it. What else is that? I do the speech very well, so I was able to do it without a teleprompter, but the teleprompter did go out.
Yeah, so I think this is very similar to the flag situation. I don't think he literally thought that there were airports in 1775. I think he was in the moment and he said something stupid that was way incorrect.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's that big of a deal. And do you know why he always talks about the crowds? Is because the media and Democrats are always trying to paint the narrative that the entire country hates him and everyone wants him gone. And he's saying,
But he's
really?
been doing that for day one because he's an egomaniac and he likes big crowds.
No, I think he's just...
No, that's it.
No, that's not it.
It is.
He understands.
He's been saying that when he first started running. Look at the crowds. This is great. All these people came to see me. Oh, it's great. They love me. He's an egomaniac.
No,
yes, he is. You have to admit that. You know that's true.
I don't know.
Oh, my
I don't think
goodness.
that's true.
I
I actually don't.
Okay.
I actually don't think it's true.
You think he's a humble, good, simple man?
Kinda.
Lives a simple little
No,
life.
I'm not saying he lives a simple life. I'm saying he
He's-
lives an appropriate life for
he's-
what he's accomplished.
He's arrogant and egocentric.
He may be arrogant, but I think he's not even that arrogant. I think he's confident more than arrogant.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference. But I think he understands that pointing out the crowds and the attention he has is important because the media is not going to do it. And he understood that from day one. That's the reason he was elected, is because he understood attention, how to get attention, how to make people see that he had the attention.
Well, I didn't say that egomaniacs are necessarily bad at getting elected to
look
office.
at you.
Right. I've held many, many major national political offices,
President Jeffs.
and I'm an egomaniac.
Oh, God, can you imagine? Oh, jeez. It would either be anarchy or, like, the most fascist, tyrannical time of our country's history. And I'm not sure which way it would go. I think it would depend on the day.
Well, I'll tell you something. The first thing I do is legalize marijuana.
I'd be in trouble.
Yeah. First, do we have a Tower of London in the U.S.? Or
You'd
or
build one,
simulate-
right? Yeah.
I'd build one. An exact replica. The Ravens and the Beefeaters as well. The first thing I do is legalize marijuana
Okay.
and prostitution, of course.
I mean, would you stop at marijuana?
No, I'd legalize all drugs. See, I'm going towards the anarchy, aren't I?
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you just legalize everything?
Well, that's. I don't agree with that.
Tyrant.
What good is having law-abiding citizens when there's no law? You got to have power over them.
We don't want law-abiding citizens.
No, we don't. We want to make them criminals so we
Right.
can control them. Where's that? That's familiar.
Ayn Rand.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
It's one of my favorite quotations from Atlas Shrugged.
I'd vote for you.
I know you would.
Just to see how it goes.
I would make you something.
Like what?
I don't know. I appoint you something.
I asked you to make a Betsy Ross flag for the show today, and I see your sewing machine must have broken.
No, I live in the 21st century, and so I printed it out.
Mm-hmm.
I think you would be the head of cleaning up my.
Oh, I see. I thought you. When you said you'd make me something, I thought like you'd
make you sausage.
Yeah, like yes, like whittle a statue or something.
Oh God,
but
no.
You mean
no.
Yeah, I got.
No, I'd give you a position.
Oh, what would it be
in my administration? I think you would be cleaning the execution cells.
Oh, good.
Somebody's got to clean up all that blood.
That's terrible.
All right. So I guess I'd be right down the middle, wouldn't I? It was not really.
You would. Everything's legal, but I'm killing the ones I don't like. I mean, that's just it.
I think that's fair. Do I have your vote? All right.
Yeah, right. You have to dip your finger in ink.
You'd be El Jefe of execution.
I don't want that.
Now, Trump is so good, a federal court of appeals in Manhattan says that President Trump cannot block critics from his Twitter account.
Yeah. No surprise.
Calling it unconstitutional viewpoint discrimination. What else did they say? Oh, yeah, blah, blah. First Amendment does not permit a public official, this is what they said, who utilizes a social media account from all manner of official purposes to exclude persons for an otherwise open online dialogue because they express views with which the official disagrees.
Now, yeah, so that's the line here. They didn't say that Trump cannot block anybody from his Twitter account. They didn't say that. They said he can't block people because of the views they hold or the things they're saying.
Yeah.
So that's a distinction that's important.
Can he block them because he doesn't like the way they look?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, is it because of their race? Then no, because I think that's protected.
I don't like the way they look.
Yeah, yes.
Execution chamber.
Why not?
Nate, you're up tonight.
Crap. Yeah.
Who's Joey Salads?
His name's like Salido or something.
It goes by Joey Salads. He's suing AOC for blocking him.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this before, and I think local governments have gone to court over it.
Right. Like on Facebook, they block people.
Blocking people, deleting comments, that sort of thing. So, that's interesting.
That's all you got to say about that?
That's it. It's interesting. I think it makes sense. I think an official government account should not be able to block or suppress speech.
It's a First Amendment issue, right?
It's a First Amendment issue. It gets a little tricky if it's President Trump's personal Twitter account, but I agree that he has made it pretty clear that he uses both. It for official purposes.
But what I don't get is that the First Amendment only applies to printing presses and paper.
Yeah, that's weird.
It shouldn't be applied to electronic stuff. You should be able to abuse people's rights and ban people from using electronic stuff because that was not in the Bill of Rights.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's why I have my musket.
You have a musket.
Well, I was going to say something. I don't remember what it was.
It's fun getting old, isn't it?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
I don't remember. How old am I? I don't know. Lithuanian rats are big.
Big rats.
Big rats.
Real big and noisy. All right.
So
what was AOC eating?
She's eating their own.
She's a cannibal?
I put notes down. Scary stuff, but I think it's scary because they're trying to take over. So the left-wing activist group that spearheaded the political rise of AOC is now working to take down several incumbent Democrats who have defied the party's freshman progressive wing, leaving some of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's loyalists on Capitol Hill anxiously wondering if they'll fall in the crosshairs. This is very similar to the rise of the brown shirts in the National Socialist Party that became the Nazi Germany in the 20s and 30s. Same type of stuff. They got a bunch of radicals elected into local, into state, into national politics, and basically killed off, literally, opponents, threatened others, and took over the party. And it sounds like that's what they want to do here. I hate her. I really, really hate her. I don't just dislike her intently. I hate her. I think she's evil. And I don't think she's very smart.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So Justice Democrats, which was co-founded by AOC, Chief of Staff, Chiraka Barata, has already announced is looking to unseat 7-term pro-life Texas Democrat Henry Collier, who represents a conservative district and has boasted about his endorsement from the National Rifle Association. He's also on the list.
Yep.
So that's scary. And then...
It's not scary.
It is scary.
It's not. It
it's
isn't
scary.
because it won't work.
Oh, it could.
It won't. And it
That's
could work.
what they said about the Nazis, Nate. They said the same damn thing. He's a crazy artist from Austria that's not going to amount to anything. He's a little pissant.
They had already...
Guess what happened?
They had already taken people's guns.
No, they hadn't.
They had.
No, they hadn't. There was registration
Come on now.
with the Weinhardt administration. Hitler didn't do that until 1938. He was already elected chancellor by then. I'm talking about a decade before. So
Not worried about it.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. And besides, just because you have the right to bear arms, you got to be willing to use the arms.
No, but
and things will happen so slowly that all of a sudden you're going to have all these communists that are going to have control of the White House.
It's not going to work. It's my point. It won't.
I think
it
could.
may work in a few places, like AOC got elected. May work in a couple other places. All that's doing is weakening the Democrat Party.
Right, but there'll still be a Democratic Party, as you talked about before, and if it's a majority of them are like AOC,
but they won't
things
be, is
will
what
be
I'm
happy.
saying.
Well, if that's what they said.
It'll
about
cause Republicans.
Adolf.
An AOC type person will win in some of those places, but Republicans will win in some of them too.
Listen, AOC is so disingenuous and lies so much. You saw the border pictures of her crying at a parking lot fence. Now she's recorded as saying that when she visited the internment camps, that the poor people were drinking out of the toilet. The only water they had was toilet water, and she was so passionate.
It's the freshest water in the place.
She was so crying because it was horrible.
Yeah, I don't like her.
Yeah, and so I guess the chief patrol agent of the Tucson sector made a little video, and he went in and he explained the drinking fountain and sink that's above the toilet that has potable water, and filled a cup and drank it. Mm-hmm. And went, that's good water. He didn't say that, but so I think AOC knew that was good water, and that's just a drinking fountain. A lot of jails have those types of things.
Or she's an idiot.
I don't know. I really hate to think she's that stupid, but maybe.
She can dance pretty well.
So she's a liar. She doesn't dance really that well either.
I thought it was all right.
I don't know. I don't think so. I know she doesn't like Nancy Pelosi.
She doesn't.
So they had a public spat
where
this was just yesterday. Her and Nancy went into it. She's accusing Nancy of singling out her and her colleagues based on their race. Come on.
I'm telling you, I think this is good for the country.
Yeah, Pelosi's trying to keep the Democratic caucus in line, specifically for newly elected outspoken progressives. And we know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And the feud continued. Let's see. It escalated after Congress passed a border funding bill that only the 4 young Democrats opposed. I love this.
Because of their race. Right?
Right, because of their race.
Yeah.
And because of all the people coming in. You know, there's no race there, is there?
Sure, they all have a race.
No, race is a social construct. It doesn't exist in biological terms.
That's ridiculous.
But
okay. You can't even have a conversation.
But I'm telling you, all of them would be basically Caucasians. People in the Middle East, if they're light or dark skinned, they're still considered a Caucasian. They're not of a Negroid African race. So I don't even know if it's race. It's like saying, you're racist if you hate Mexicans. Well, Mexico.
Everything is race.
Mexican isn't a race. It's
she
a
has
country.
no other argument. That's why it's so ridiculous. I don't know why you're trying to make sense of it.
But I love what Pelosi says. She told the New York Times, she goes, all these people, speaking of the four, have their, public whatever in their Twitter world, but they didn't have any following. They're 4 people, and that's how many votes they got. I love that. You get it?
No, what does that even mean?
She said, these young people, they have all their Twitter and public account. They have all this big following on there. But when it comes to actually getting something done, they only got 4 votes, which was themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's what she's saying.
Yeah, right. But that is kind of the 4 of them. That's kind of their point, is they're rallying the public, the people outside of Congress, to say, hey, look at the rest of these idiots. We need to do something about them. So, I get it.
AOC actually said that. When the comments first started, I kind of thought she was keeping the progressive flank at more of an arm's distance in order to protect more moderate members, which I understood. But the persistent singling out, it's disrespectful. And it's explicitly singling out newly elected women of color.
Yeah. See, so she didn't say race. The article said race. She said color, and they have a color.
Yeah, I do. We all have color.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
And they're women.
And they're newly elected.
Exactly. So she was accurate.
Spot on.
Let's take a break.
Really?
Yep.
Is it that time already?
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm doing it.
Oh, I want to talk more about lying.
Do you have a question?
New comments. I do have a question. Which president and first lady established a library in the White House? Until them, there was no library in the White House. See, I'll give you a hint. There wasn't any TV then. So one of the things you can do is read.
Oh, so it was before 2004.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, we'll be right back.
Lock it in and rip the knob off. Red State Talk Radio.
My Parents Open Carry, a pro-gun kids book from White Feather Press. 13-year-old Brenna and her parents spend their day in typical fashion. But what's not so typical is that Brenna's parents lawfully open carry handguns for self-defense. And the Strongs join a growing number of families who are standing up for their Second Amendment right and bringing gun ownership out of the closet. Order your copy of this unique kids book at myparentsopencarry.com.
You know advertising works, and as you listen to this right now, so are others. Advertising on the internet is a proven way to get your message out there. So if you have a business or some message you want to get out, why not advertise on At Odds? Our rates are reasonable, and we can create and record an ad for you at no charge. If you already have a 15, 30, or 60-second audio ad, we can play it on our show. At Odds can be heard on Red State Talk Radio, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and you can watch it on our YouTube channel. You can mail us at talk@oddshow.com, and we can discuss and personalize an ad campaign for you today.
It's a bumpy ride through the political jungle with Nate and Brian.
Whenever I'm feeling a little down under, I can always count on Nate and Brian for their interesting perspective on topics important to freedom and civil rights by listening to the At Odds Show. Nate and Brian cover important topics with insight, intelligence, and of course humor. I can always expect a laugh or two. So if you want to be informed and have a great time, give these guys a listen.
At Odds.
The At Odds Show with the greatest political talk show hosts in history, Nate and Brian. And it's sad that they actually believe that. So give a listen because the delusional need love too.
Are you looking for some way cool t-shirts? Check out ChugDug.com. They have hundreds of crazy fun t-shirts like gun, patriotic, and you better believe zombie shirts. At ChugDug.com, you'll find quality shirts at a quality price. All shirts start at just $10 with free shipping over $50. Mention Radio 1 coupon code at checkout and grab a cool 10% off. That's ChugDug.com. T-shirts with attitude.
Hi, I'm Brian.
And I'm Nate.
If you like the At Odds show,
And we know you do.
why not order your very own At Odds t-shirt sizes small to 6XL in a cool black color?
So support our show. Check out the great prices at chugdug.com or head over to our website, atoddshow.com, and click the link.
And unlike listening to our show, you won't be disappointed.
By being present to grant a full, free, and absolute pardon unto Richard Nixon.
Oh, thank you.
It was a Nixon. It was Ford pardoning Nixon.
Was that a hint?
No, it wasn't. I wish. All right. So, which president and first lady established a library in the White House? Well, it was during Millard Fillmore's presidency in 1850 to 1853.
Oh, no, we didn't have any guesses.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Give some of the guesses.
All of them except that one.
Yeah, okay. All the presidents but that one. And Ben Franklin.
Yeah, Benjamin Franklin was not the president to put a library in.
Yep. All right. Congress established funding for the library.
And Franklin's wife was not a fan of libraries.
No, I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Anyways, it was spearheaded by Abigail Fillmore. The library was originally in the Yellow Oval Room.
Oh.
Until 1929, when it moved to its current location by the Hoover administration. By the time of their relocation, though, there were hardly any books in there. So the American Booksellers Association donated books and has continued to do so to this day. Oh. It's a lovely little room. It's not very big. It's like
nice of them.
10 by 15 feet, you know. It's a small place. Maybe it's 20 by 15 or something. And I know Obama and some other presidents have done interviews in there. It's quite lovely. All right.
They read any of the books? Are there any good books in there?
My Parents' Open Carry.
Should be, and probably The Art of the Deal will be in there.
Yeah, I would think.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
I think
autographed copies should be in there.
Oh, yeah? Wait, can we donate a book?
I don't know.
We should do that.
We should. On this day in 1805, a duel was held in Weehawken, New Jersey.
Mm.
You know who it was?
I do.
Yeah, it was Burr and Hamilton. The men met at 7 a.m. at the dueling grounds. Funny, it was the same spot where Hamilton's son had died defending his father's honor just 3 years earlier.
Should have known.
Hamilton got into a lot of duels, but none of them ended in bloodshed because they were usually settled. But there's conflicting accounts. One person, Hamilton's second, said that Hamilton decided that dueling was morally wrong and deliberately fired into the air. Burr's second said that he shot at Burr and missed, but Burr did shoot Hamilton in the stomach, and the bullet lodged next to his spine. He was taken back to New York, and he died the next day. The nation, I didn't know this, the nation was outraged by the killing of Hamilton, and they charged Burr with murder in New Jersey. But since he was vice president, he could finish his term with immunity.
Mm-hmm.
But by 1805, basically, Burr was a pariah, and he concocted a plot with James Wilkinson, commander of the U.S. Army, to seize the Louisiana Territory and establish an independent empire, which Burr presumably would lead.
Mm-hmm.
He contacted the British government and unsuccessfully pleaded for assistance in the scheme.
Well, they learned their lesson.
Yeah, they did.
They were like,
But it was because then there was a War of 1812 just a few years later, though. Later,
people forget quickly.
I know. When border trouble with Spanish Mexico heated up, Burr and Wilkinson conspired to seize territory in Spanish America for the same purpose. In the fall of 1806, Burr led a group of well-armed colonists towards New Orleans, promoting an immediate U.S. investigation. Wilkinson, in an effort to save himself, threw Burr under the bus and accused Burr of treason. Burr was arrested in Louisiana for treason and sent to Virginia to be tried in a U.S. court. He was acquitted on a technicality. Nevertheless, public opinion condemned him as a traitor, and he fled to Europe.
Where all traitors go.
Yep. He later returned to private life in New York. Murder charges against him forgotten. He died in 1836.
Huh.
I also didn't tell you what today was
National like a jerk.
National American Pet Photo Day.
Oh, that's cool. You want to see a picture of my dog?
No.
Okay.
I've had your dogs all over me already today.
I know.
All right. This is another woman I don't really care for from Minnesota. Congresswoman Omar has admitted that she embellished a story she told a group of 400 high school students about an old woman that stole a loaf of bread for her granddaughter and then was sentenced to jail time. And it was very sad, and she cried in the courtroom because she was a woman of color.
Right.
And, of course, press picked up on this, and they said, this sounds like the plot to Les Miserables, and that if there's any grain of truth in it at all, it had likely been embellished. She admitted that she may have stretched the truth.
Yep.
The woman might have had prior arrests.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure. She was attempting to prove to the veterans that Republicans don't care about troops. This is another time she lied, and alleged that approximately 45% of military families rely on food stamps to get by. Actually, the number is less than 5%. So she lies, AOC lie. They all lie. And how do they do that and not expect not to get caught? What is it about politicians? How big is their egos that are so huge that they just lie? Now, Hitler said, if you say a lie big enough and often enough, it becomes the truth. But
it's not about them expecting to not get caught. It's about what's happened to her because of it. Nothing.
Well, that's the other thing. But they just do it and get away with it, and it's horrible.
Right.
They have no morals, no ethics, no nothing.
No nothing.
They're despicable people. All right, so
they got elected.
I want to talk real quick about this. We've talked before in the past, and I get into Facebook discussions about this.
Oh, geez.
Nate, if you get pulled over by the police and they want to search your car,
I thought this was going somewhere else. Well,
and why not let them? You got nothing to hide.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You got nothing to hide.
That's what I tell them.
Yeah, go ahead and do it.
Go ahead. In fact, you come back to my house, you can search that too if you want.
Yeah, because there's no possibility
that's what I do.
Things will go bad. Don't consent to searches. That's a Fourth Amendment right. And even if they have probable cause, still say you don't consent.
Yeah.
A Florida sheriff's deputy was arrested for planting drugs and falsely arresting at least 10 people. Where they obtained body camera footage showing him lying about the results of a roadside field test. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement announced yesterday that following a months-long investigation, the deputy was arrested and charged with 52 felonies, including racketeering, false imprisonment, fabricating evidence, and get this, drug possession.
Yeah, well, it makes sense.
The investigators laid out how Webster kept unmarked bags of marijuana and methamphetamines in the trunk of his patrol car, manipulated his body camera, planted drugs in people's cars, falsified arrest reports to railroad innocent people under the color laws. Some of his victims had prior records, some weren't. One person lost custody of his daughter because of it. Real consequences. You go to prison for this kind of crap. The agent in charge of the investigation said there's no question that Wester's crimes were deliberate and his actions put innocent people in jail. It's just a few bad cops, Nate. Right?
It's true.
But the prosecutor who first flagged some of Wester's suspicious cases has since quit the state attorney general's office and filed a whistleblower's retaliation complaint. Said she was ostracized and ignored after bringing this to light. So it's not just the cops, it's the whole friggin' system.
Oh, for sure.
Now, you can say, well, this doesn't happen very long. Listen, they dismissed over 100 cases that he worked on, investigated over 250 so far. So this wasn't like a once-a-year thing or once, or getting back at somebody for revenge. He didn't know these people.
Yeah, he was doing it all the time. For what?
For what reason? They still don't know why he was doing it. So this guy's a psychopath.
Oh, for sure.
All right.
It's terrible. I don't know if not consenting to a search would have helped you much in this case.
No, it probably wouldn't, but it helps if you don't give them permission with court. Because they can say
there's lots of reasons to not give permission.
Just don't do it out of standard protocol. No, you can't search my car.
Yep. God, what a jerk!
I did it for a conservation officer that stopped me a couple of years ago. Hey, can I chuck the back into your Suburban? I said no. He goes, huh? I said no, you can't. He goes, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just fishing. There was no reason for it. The whole stop was unlawful.
Here's the thing: if they actually have probable cause to search your car, they're not going to.
They don't ask. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you say.
So when they ask, they're fishing. Meanwhile, more people of color are upset with the Democratic Party.
Yeah, go figure.
Did you hear about the big shot Robert Johnson, who was the executive founder and longtime Democrat of Black Entertainment Television, said that the Democratic Party has become too liberal to defeat Trump. The party, in my opinion, has moved too far to the left.
Mm-hmm.
Forbes has labeled Robert Johnson the first African-American billionaire.
Oh, wow.
It says, become so liberal, he's not supporting any particular 2020 candidate at this time. That's good.
It's interesting.
Which goes back to this with color. It's all race this week. It's
weird.
I
don't know what's going on here.
Following backlash, Afrofuture Fest changes ticket prices.
This is Michigan news.
That charged white people double the ticket price to see this concert.
Yeah.
And who was it? It was a woman that came. I can't think of her name. But there was an artist, she's biracial. That's why she was mad. When she found out about it, she dropped out of the festival. And what'd she say? Considering the wealth gap right now.
This wasn't her. This was the founder. Okay. The quote that you're reading was the founder of it. Or the organizer of Afrofuture Fest. Is that what you're reading?
I guess. Did you put that in there?
Yes.
Oh, that's why it doesn't look familiar at all. Because I thought I had it down here.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Huh. I did have something on this. Where is it? What'd you do to it?
It's not there. You didn't.
Huh. Is it up farther? Did I delete it? Okay, well, so what did they say? Anyways, did they change their policy now? There was a black entertainer, biracial entertainer, that dropped out saying...
Her name is Tiny Jag.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So the organizer of the event, what she said, because they would charge like $10 for an early bird for a person of color, $20 for a non-person of color, or they called them white people. Considering the wealth gap right now with where black people are economically in comparison to white people collectively, this is what we need, which doesn't even make sense. I don't even know what that means. What she's saying is basically black people are poor and white people are rich, and that's not fair, which isn't true, first of all. Yeah. But, come on.
They can't do that because that's discriminating based on race.
You would think, yeah. So
they can't.
They did change the ticket price. She said they didn't change their principle. They changed it because of all the backlash, though.
Yeah.
But they still think that it's the right thing to do. But they had to change it because we were receiving threats from racist white supremacists
I don't believe that for a minute.
sending threatening messages to elders on this land here.
Yeah,
she said.
I don't
what is
that?
But at what land?
I don't know.
What elders? What does that mean? I don't understand. I don't even know what organization she's with other than this Afrofest organization. But they've already sold $1,000 in ticket sales. That's pretty good.
It's great for them.
We're doing collectively what we need to do, which is supporting equity and using Afrofuture as a framework to move forward and do what we have to do for our people, she said, which means charging white people twice the amount because of equality.
Yep. Financial, economic.
I don't understand how anybody, which is why Tiny Jeg dropped out. She said that's not equality.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous. And she wasn't. You're saying she was biracial, which is why
that's what she said.
There were plenty of people of all races that thought this was just a terrible idea.
I know, but she was using that in her quote as one of the reasons why it bothered her.
Yeah,
it's an out for her because if she was 100% black, they would, call her an Uncle Tom or something.
I don't know if if she jumped back on the ticket since they.
Yeah, I don't know.
Since they actually made.
And you know what?
Since they actually made the prices equal.
I don't really care if she does or not. The point was.
I thought that's why you were going, was to see her.
No, I'm not going.
Did you already pay your $40,
No,
or you got the early bird?
No.
The person of color price?
The National African American Gun Association.
I haven't heard of this.
Or NAGR.
Huh?
For short.
No.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, it is.
And there's no R, first of all.
Oh, it's NAGA. Sorry, NAGA. NAGA. And they were asked about that. But anyways.
What'd they say?
They said it's fine.
Yeah,
the goal of the National African American Gun Association is to introduce black Americans to guns and also instruct them on how to use them.
Okay.
NRA already kind of does that. Organizers say it's a civil rights organization that adds to build community and promote self-protection. Started in 2015. Get this, 30,000 members, 75 chapters nationwide.
Wow. Good.
Let's see. According to a Pew Research broken down by race, 24% of African Americans say they personally own a gun, compared with 36% of whites and 15% of Hispanics. Some say they want to have a larger platform. So the reason I'm bringing it up, they want to create a PAC.
Okay.
And there's backlash from members saying, well, if we start a PAC, then we won't get any support because then, we'll be supporting just black stuff, and we don't want to just support black stuff. We want to have Second Amendment for everything. But they want to raise money to help black candidates who are sympathetic to the Second Amendment. They think that some of the members think their primary focus should be working on solutions between black gun owners and the police. Blacks have told me, the person quoting, that they wouldn't open carry because of the risk of law enforcement. We know Rick Ector, who's a black man, who open carries in Detroit. He's a firearm instructor and does a lot of good things. But I got to agree. I think blacks do probably get harassed more when firearms are involved. I mean, there was a case just in Michigan in Grand Rapids yesterday about a 13-year-old who had a handgun BB gun, and the cops drew their guns on him, put him down, and handcuffed him, and then realized it was a BB gun. And their statement was, well, BB guns are legal.
They could do.
Would they have done that with a black 13-year-old? Or, a white 13-year-old? I don't know. Let's test that out.
I don't know any.
Don't you have a daughter that's around that age? We'll throw her in Grand Rapids downtown with a BB gun. See how that plays out. Then we can play the white card and the female card.
Yeah. I think that's a bad idea. She'd end up getting her leg punched by the cop.
She would. Old news, the NRA is going to shut down NRA TV.
Yeah, we already talked about that.
Did we already?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna delete that now.
And the thing is, the NRA's not shutting it down. Actually,
that's right.
The advertising firm that they contracted with owns it. So that's what's happening.
So this is the start of a joke. 5 police officers walk into a Starbucks and then are asked to leave.
Order donuts.
Moments later.
Oh.
No, the barista asked them to leave because they had guns.
Well,
they said either move out of the line of sight of this customer or leave the premises.
Yeah, because there was a customer that felt scared.
Didn't feel safe.
They were triggered. They were unsafe.
Tempe, Arizona. It was on the 4th of July. Customer told employee they didn't feel safe.
Well,
the union, the Officers Association president, said that it's becoming more common. It's being accepted to not trust or see police and think that we're not here to serve you.
Good.
And again, it goes back to we take great pride of the level of customer service we provide to citizens, and to be looked at a feeling as unsafe when you have law enforcement around you is somewhat perplexing to me.
I was in a 7-Eleven, which is interesting because today's 7-Eleven. I was in a 7-Eleven talking to a cop. They had donuts there. They had coffee there. The cop was there. They're there every day getting their free donuts and coffee. Mm-hmm. And he said, "What?
Where was this again?"
This was in Frankenmuth. It was
but what's the place?
7-Eleven.
Oh.
I said it's funny because today is July
7-Eleven.
11th.
Yeah.
The cop said that if somebody came in to rob the place, he would do nothing to protect me.
Yeah.
So how am I supposed to assume that any police officer that's around me makes me safer?
Right.
So it's not perplexing to me that people don't feel safe with the cops around.
I talked to a relative that had a PPO against somebody and felt that she was going to be safer because of that, and that there were lots of police around. And I explained to her how long it would take, and I said, "How many times do you think you could be stabbed in 10 minutes?" Mm-hmm. She goes, "Oh, I suppose a lot." I said, "Yeah, so you can't count on the police.
You only care about the first few.
After that, you probably go numb,
yeah.
Die out. I don't know. Although people have been stabbed dozens of times and survived."
So, I mean, on one hand, I get it. I think it's kind of weird to ask a police officer to leave because somebody doesn't feel comfortable. I mean, really, just
they do it. They do it to us.
They shouldn't. I think that's weird too.
I know, but
so I'm not being hypocritical to say, good, I don't like cops, they need to leave. I think Starbucks should stop kicking people out that aren't causing any problems.
Right. Just because they have a firearm.
Yeah, whether they're a cop or not, don't care. But
I'm sure
on the other hand, I totally understand not feeling safer because there's cops around you. Right. I don't.
Right.
Ever. Has anybody ever been pulled over and thought, oh, good,
I feel safer.
There's going to be a cop near me? Yep. Ever.
Yep.
And it just, you don't have, I mean.
They don't even have to pull you over. They just can drive up behind you.
Exactly. You see them parked on the side of the road, and you immediately go to fear.
Yeah. And this union guy doesn't get that.
Yeah, it's perplexing to him.
Starbucks is investigating.
Yeah, I bet they are. They'll apologize. They'll give them some free coffee and say, cops are always welcome.
Well, they probably already were getting free coffee and donuts.
That's why they're mad.
Yeah.
Because the Dunkin' Donuts across the
street
kicked them out
before they got them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not Dunkin' Donuts anymore. It's Dunkin's.
It doesn't matter.
All right. Aren't we done yet?
No. About 25 more minutes.
No. This was
2 more minutes.
Old news. I just thought it was interesting. This was from 2015, but some Native Americans found squash seeds in a pot.
Where are you?
Way down. They were 800 years old. Think of that. That's pre-Columbian.
Were they dated?
Hunting, gathering stuff.
There was a sticky note with the date next to it? Or
Yeah,
they
dated
labeled
it.
the Ziploc or what?
They had Ziplocs.
The baggie? Yeah, they
800-year-old squash, and they revived the plant for the first time in
no.
centuries.
That seems like a bad idea.
No, it's a great idea.
No, that's like bringing back
And it's-
woolly mammoths.
It's
We're
cool.
in trouble.
It's not the same.
It's exactly
Woolly
the same.
mammoth is extinct. These were not extinct. They were
Oh.
still viable. They were just in a pot in storage. Big difference. They were not extinct.
Mm-hmm.
They just weren't planted. That's like saying all your man juice is extinct because it's still inside you and not being used.
No, that's weird. That's not the same, but...
All right. So anyways, what I loved about it is they had a picture of it, and it's a big orange squash that they've distributed to Native communities, including some college students in Canada who grew them. They're like a big fat zucchini, except they're orange and have markings kind of like a watermelon, except it's orange. I just thought that was neat. This is an 800-year-old squash. This is a squash that indigenous people were growing, cultivating, and eating. 800 years
you
ago.
gonna eat some? It's probably expensive.
I would eat it. I would love to eat it. Just like I would like to go into Alaska when they find frozen mammoth meat and they cook it and eat it. I would love to eat some mammoth.
Well, you'll get to when they're roaming around killing all the humans because of this squash.
Kill all humans.
Yeah, because they're robots, and that's what they sound like.
That's how mammoths... You don't know how mammoths talked.
Have you seen Ice Age? I know exactly how they talk.
Yeah. Oh, like Ray Romano.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Little nasally.
Yeah. Like a guy from New York or somewhere.
Yeah.
I could...
Do you have any jokes?
I could do an off-color
No,
joke.
you don't. No, don't do that.
But it's going to be subtle.
Do you have any race jokes? We've been doing race all day.
I'm
I'm just kidding. You have 4 seconds, so you're not
Okay,
going to be able to
do
get
it.
anything out. All right. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
See you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.